fix this. All right, the August 22nd, 2021 Solidarity Lowell General Meeting. This meeting is being recorded. So guidelines for our virtual meetings. By staying in the meeting, you are consenting to be recorded, or you can change your picture and your name to be to something else if you wish to remain incognito. Have your chat open and raise your hand or type an asterisk into the chat so that we can see you and know that you want to speak. The stacker for this meeting, that is D. Halzak, will be paying attention to the order and will unmute you in turn. Ron, do you have your hand up? You are still muted. Ron, can you unmute?
Here we go.
There we go.
Yes. How do I set it up on the cell phone so I can see the chat window? Does anybody know?
Nope.
Hang on a second. Participants. Nope. Close. More. Is there? There it is. Chat. Can I see the chat window?
All right.
Oh, if I open the chat window, I can't see anything else. Okay.
So if you want to speak, your options are to type an asterisk into the chat or raise your hand in your window or use the little raise hand feature. And we have people, we have a stacker and a chat herder who are keeping an eye open for those things. The timekeeper this evening is Win Flint. Please be mindful of time limits. Use stop video if you need to take a break from sharing your camera, and use start video when you're ready to return. We ask that everybody step up and step back. We want to make this a welcoming place for everybody's opinion to be shared and to be heard. So if you haven't been talking, please step up and join the group and let us know what you think. If you've been talking a lot, please step back and give other people their chance. Also, because of Zoom, please speak slowly so that we can understand everybody. So the agenda for tonight that we're going to try to stick to at 5:30, we have our information about Solidarity Lowell, and we have our brief introductions. At 5:45, we're going to ask other committees and allied organizations to report any news they have. And then at 6 o'clock or before, if we're running ahead of things, we're going to get into our preliminary election endorsements. We'll be reviewing the questionnaires that we sent out to candidates and discussing. And then we will try to wrap up by 6:55 and talk about the next meeting. All right, so first, let's go around, give everybody an opportunity to introduce yourself, give us your name, your pronouns, where you live, and what is your favorite, the question today, the icebreaker is, what is your favorite waterfront location in Lowell? So I'll start. I am Joseph Boyle. I live in the Highlands. I go he, him pronouns. And my favorite waterfront location in Lowell is probably the area in by the canal downtown, Lucy Larkin Park. It's my favorite waterfront location in Lowell. Walking by St. Anne's Church and Lowell High. I will throw it off to Win. Win, you are muted.
God, I've only done this like 400 freaking times. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh God. Okay. My name is Win Flint. My pronouns are she and her. I live in Centerville on Christian Hill. My favorite waterfront location. Okay. This is kind of silly, but I can't remember the name of it, but it's like an engine house that's right across from Pawtucket Falls. I don't know the name of it. It's not on University
School Street?
School Street. Yes.
No, it's on School Street. Yeah, it's on School Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so Paul, why don't you go next?
Hi, everybody. Paul Gaudette from the Highlands section and Merrimack Valley Project. My pronouns are he, him, and Win and I both agree Waterfalls on School Street was my favorite spot.
Mhm. Next, Ben.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben Ukara. My pronouns are he, him, as you may see. And I live in Port Tuckertville. And my favorite waterfall location maybe of the bridge over there on the Rock Bridge. I don't know if it's a waterfall, it's just a water view. I do that route every day, walking, somewhere I do my exercise around my neighborhood. So it's just a water view. I love taking pictures there.
Excellent. Chris. Chris Offerman, are you there? All right, let's skip Chris for now. Move on to, let's see, who do we have here? I'm having trouble getting names. All right, D.
Hi. D. Helzak, she, her, I live in the acre. My favorite place on the river is probably on Pawtucket Street, the park on Pawtucket Street. Down close to where it merges into Middlesex.
Okay. Marissa.
Hi, everyone. Marissa DuPont, she, her, hers. I live in Pawtucketville, and my favorite waterfront location is the Greenway along the boulevard on the Merrimack.
All right. Kale.
Hi, everybody. Kale Connerty, she, her. I live in downtown Lowell. My favorite part is actually the picture that was up. I love the waterfront with the river walk with the Lawrence Mill building.
Amy.
Hi, Amy Baranowski, she, her, hers, downtown. And yes, you could tell I made the slides because that picture is, I live in Lawrence Mills, and that is the view right outside my window that I can look at right now if I tilt my head. Yeah, that is my favorite view.
My name is Ryan Hammond. My pronouns are he, his. And my favorite area is also behind the Lawrence Mills where we live. I love to walk along that stretch of the Merrimack River, go underneath the Aiken Bridge, loop around, sometimes go across the bridge, and just walk on the opposite bank, sometimes either to the pharmacy or the beer store, and just take inspiration or de-stress that way.
Caroline, have you gone yet?
Hi, everybody. Caroline Snow, she, her. I live in Centerville, and my favorite waterfront is the Jolene Dubner Park. And that is because it is named for somebody that I knew and cared deeply about.
Next on my screen is Ron.
Can you hear me? Am I off mute?
You are off mute. You are.
My name is Ron Peastree. I live on Beacon Hill. My pronouns are he, his, him. And wherever I happen to be taking a walk and needing water as a thing turns out to be my favorite at that moment. I don't have a place that calls out to me. I just have places I need when I need them.
Excellent, Ron. Which hill is that?
Beacon Hill.
You
Beacon
sure?
Hill.
Yes, 240 Beacon. Oh, I'm sorry, Beacon Street.
Christian Hill.
It's Christian Hill. He's my neighbor.
Yes.
I have to assume they set that up as some sort of practical joke on people who move into the neighborhood to call it Beacon Street on Christian Hill. Let's see. Next on my screen, we have Cyrus. Okay, if Cyrus isn't ready, we can move on. Next on my screen, Justin. Can you unmute? There we are.
Hello, how's it going? My name is Justin Ford. My pronouns are he, him, his. I live in the Highlands on Hastings Street, and my favorite waterfront is at University Ave, overlooking the river.
Excellent. Corey. Corey, can you unmute?
How's it going? My name is Corey Robinson. My pronouns are he, him, his. I live in Centerville, and I'd have to say anywhere along the Riverwalk from Aiken to Bridge.
Excellent. Let me see. Linda? Linda, here
Hi.
you are.
I don't know if you can hear me. My name
We
is
can.
Linda Cantor. I'm she, her. I live in downtown Lowell, and my favorite location is right outside my window, where I can look to the right or to the left and I can see the bridges and the water.
Lovely. Next on my screen, Robert. Robert Gignac.
Hi, everybody. Robert Gignac. My pronouns are he, him, his. I too live in Centerville. And my favorite waterfront location is the view from the Hunts Falls Bridge looking towards downtown.
Nice. Susie?
Hi, my name is Susie. My pronoun is she, hers. Live in South Lowell. While cleaning up with the Lowell litter crew, I discovered the Lawrence Mill that you guys just mentioned. Nice place, hidden gem. So, thank you.
Excellent. And is it Kirsten?
Yes, you got it. I'm Kirsten. I also live in Centerville, so I'm so excited that there's so many people here who live in Centerville. And my pronouns are she, her. And I would have to go with Corey. I'm new to the neighborhood, so I'm sure that I'm gonna yet to discover so many other great places, but I love the Riverfront Park on that borders the river in Centerville.
Has Cyrus rejoined us?
Yes, but he may not know what it is we're asking because he wasn't here before, so you may want to restate.
Oh, okay. Cyrus, if you are with us, we are having everyone introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, their pronouns, and the question of the day is, what is your favorite waterfront location in Lowell?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Well, my name is Cyrus Camino. So I actually live in Dracut, but I consider myself to be a Lowellian. I attend the Elliott Presbyterian Church in Lowell, and I volunteer for the International Institute. But my favorite site with water would be Great Meadows in Concord, a bird sanctuary where I hike. But in Lowell, it would probably be the bridge that crosses over the North Campus where all the waterfalls are, that crosses from one campus towards the Student Union. You know where I mean? I'm not sure the name of that bridge.
University Ave.
Yeah, University Ave, exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Did I miss anybody?
Chris.
Chris.
Yes, because I had to make a quick call before.
Because Chris was
Chris Offerman, live in downtown Lowell, pronouns are she, her, hers. And my favorite waterfront is looking out my window. I'm looking right at the canal. And since I'm all for easy, since I'm not really into hiking, when I go walking on the waterfront, I go out towards the canal that flows right by my building and behind the Leroy garage. And then actually you can't cross, well, with a little bit of difficulty, you can still cross over to Lowell Community College and loop around that way and come back there. So I like walking by the canals.
All right. Nice meeting everybody. Ooh, all right, I get this back up. All right. Well, nice to meet everybody. For those of you who do not know, Solidarity Lowell is a chapter of Progressive Massachusetts. Progressive Mass is a statewide, member-driven, grassroots organization committed to fighting for a vision of shared prosperity, racial and social justice, good government, and environmental sustainability in Massachusetts. The Progressive Mass has a number of committees, and they are looking for people to become active and to get involved. So if any of these strike your fancy, get in touch with Progressive Mass online. Did we just have a late joiner? I'm not sure. If so, welcome. All right.
It's
Moving along.
Tara Hong.
Oh, Tara.
Hi, sorry. Coming late. Sorry about that.
It's okay. If you want to introduce yourself, and the question of the day is, what is your favorite waterfront location in Lowell?
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
What is your favorite waterfront location in Lowell?
Waterfront. What is that?
A place on the water, a place on the riverbank or next to a body of water.
Oh, my name is Tara Hong, and I'm going with he, him, and but I usually don't go. I usually just go to the Merrimack River on the South Campus side. You must know, just ain't there.
Yeah, on Pawtucket Street. That's
Yeah.
That's a great. I love that park. All right, celebrate victories. Good news since our last meeting. First one. Every Lowell race, every city council seat and every school committee seat is a contested race. There were even enough qualifying candidates to require preliminaries in several districts. We are getting better democracy in the city. Next items, State Representative Vanna Howard is co-sponsoring 24 of the 26 bills on the Progressive Mass agenda, including about 10 that she signed on to recently after having them brought to her attention. So that is a great win for us. Not usually the response that we get from the Lowell delegation, especially the House delegation. Governor Baker signed a bill creating the State Hate Crimes Task Force. The Massachusetts SJC, our highest court, established the right of trans, queer, lesbian, gay, and bisexual people not to be discriminated against in jury service. The State Department, the US State Department, will allow non-binary and intersex people to obtain IDs and passports with an X gender marker instead of an M or an F gender marker. I'm sorry, am I right? Is that the US State Department or is that Massachusetts?
US.
US, excellent. And a continuation of some excellent appointments. Mendoza Jadu, the daughter of Mexican and Iraqi immigrants, has been named the first woman director of the US Citizenship and Immigration Services. That is the arm of the government that actually processes the immigration documents and allows people to achieve status. And Native American conservationist Charles Sams has been named the head of the National Park Service. Anybody else in any of our allied organizations that have victories of their own to share?
I can say something for 350. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, okay. 350 just finished a white paper on urban heat islands. We just got a link to it on 350 Mass State site. And we're going to be talking about at the Sustainability Council, which I just got nominated to, whatever the heck you call it. That's good. And can you hear me?
We are having problems with your audio. What we heard, one piece of important news is that you have been nominated to the Lowell Sustainability Commission.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now you're coming through clearly.
Okay, that's not the big deal. The big deal is we finished this heat island report that we've been working on for several months. So that's good. And 350 is in the middle of helping the city renew its community aggregation, getting green energy. And we're just in the middle of that. So that's what's going on.
Excellent. Kale?
Could you tell me a little more about what the sustainability committee does for I know what their relationship is with the city council?
When we are having terrible audio problems with you.
You know what?
People who have been involved in.
Yeah, when we didn't catch any of that, actually, if you want to just message me separate or put it in the chat, maybe.
That's a good idea in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Anyone else? Looks like Paul.
The Labor Day Bread and Roses event in Lawrence is happening in person. It'll be the last performance of the Bread and Circus Puppet Group at that event. It starts on Labor Day from noon and goes till about 5 o'clock. And Merrimack Valley Project will have a table there, probably right next to the living history section of the park. And usually the Central Labor Council also has a table with labor history items there. And we raffle off a child's bicycle and helmet. No charge. Every kid wants to come and take a chance, get a balloon, might win a bicycle.
Excellent. All right. I am not seeing anyone else. All right. Well, thank you for all of that. All right. Next up, the Solidarity Lowell Election Subcommittee. They are continuing their focus on the Lowell City Council and school committee elections. They did the work to prepare for all of this, sending out the questionnaires, processing them, coming up with the questions, all of that. So what does a Solidarity Lowell endorsement mean? Endorsed candidates may post on our Facebook group page. We ask them to keep it to once a week. You may use the custom SL graphic to announce that you are a Solidarity Lowell endorsed candidate. Solidarity Lowell may advertise volunteer opportunities and encourage members to volunteer for the endorsed campaigns. And we will be hosting a discussion with all of the endorsed candidates at one of our meetings. If you're interested in getting involved with the election subcommittee, please contact either Lisa Arnold or Dee Halzak at Lisa at Solidarity Lowell or Dee at Solidarity Lowell. All right, moving on. The Merrimack Valley Interfaith Sanctuary Network. Thank you to everybody. What? Okay. Thank you, Marissa.
Yep. Hi, Marissa. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Solidarity Lowell for the Merrimack Valley Interfaith Sanctuary Network. And I just wanted to thank everybody who came to the fundraiser at the barbecue. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Marius has found an apartment, which is fantastic. We're very excited about that. But he still needs support because though he had a court hearing, it was just a preliminary hearing, and his next one isn't scheduled until July 2022. So that's great. So we still need to support him, obviously, for his living expenses until that time when he can finally get work. He is getting financial assistance for his rent, which is fantastic. But so right now, the only issue is that in the past, we've accepted donations through Merrimack Valley Project, which is great. You can still donate to them to help with the general asylum fund, but they have restrictions, I think, because of their 501c3. It can't go directly to a specific person. So in order to give money directly to Marius, And obviously for security reasons, we don't want to share his cash information. So you can send that to me and I will pass that along to him. Just make sure to put Marius in the notes. And my Cash App is $Gully G17, or my Venmo is @OwlNerd. So if you have any questions, just let me know. But yeah, that's the news right now. He's doing great. He loves his new apartment. He has, I think, almost everything that he needs for the apartment. And he's hoping to do a little get together for the Merrimack Valley Interfaith Sanctuary Network soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. So, yeah. If you want to help, let me know. Marissa@solidaritylowell.com. Thanks.
We have a labor shortage in this country, and we're doing a fundraiser for this talented young genius because they won't let him work. All right, Merrimack Valley Interfaith Sanctuary Network continues its good work. All right, Lowell City Council endorsements. This is what we're here for tonight. Today, we are discussing our endorsements in the preliminary races. That is the City Council Districts 2, 3, 4, and 7. Next month will be our meeting to discuss endorsements for the general election in November. Tonight, we are only going to be doing the ones that have preliminaries. There is no preliminary for the at-large seats. Exactly six candidates are running, and the formula for having a preliminary election is twice the number of seats being contested plus 1. So any district seats that have 3 candidates would have a preliminary. The city council at large would need to have 7 candidates to have a preliminary, and it will have 6. The school committee at large would need to have 5 candidates to have a preliminary, and it has 3. So, and none of the school committee seats have more than 2 candidates. So that leaves us with 4 primaries where some of us are going to be voting in September. Of those 4, we sent out questionnaires to all of the candidates. We did not receive any survey responses from the 3 candidates in District 3, the Belvedere seat. There are no preliminaries anywhere else, so that leaves us with Districts 2, 4, and 7. What we are going to do this evening is present the results of our questionnaires for everybody to review. We'll have discussions if people wish to, and then shortly after, and then soon after this meeting, voting members of Solidarity Lowell will be receiving their ballots, where they can vote on who we should endorse. Voting members are people who have attended 3 or more meetings in the last 12 months. You will be receiving your ballot via email. So moving along. District 2, we'll start off with District 2. That is the Centerville district, most of Centerville. The candidates are Robert Gignac, Marty Hogan, and Corey Robinson. Now, our first question. The city, sorry about that. The city has more work to do in the area of fair, unbiased policing. And you can see everybody rated it 1 to 3. I'll just give you all a minute to read this page. All right, and Corey Robinson's answer continues on the next page. All right, the next question. The city needs to diversify its hiring practices so that City Hall proportionally represents the ethnic makeup of our city's residents. These are all ranked on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 meaning strongly agree, 3 being neutral, and 5 being strongly disagree. All right, why or why not? Give everyone a minute to look over this page. All right, next page. Would you support requiring developers in the city to sign community benefit agreements that require that their contractors' workforce require that a significant percentage of their workforce be Lowell residents, reflecting Lowell's diversity? All 3 candidates answered yes. The city needs to ensure that all marginalized communities are equally protected. Why or why not? All right, going to move along. Systemic racism is a public health crisis in Lowell. If so, why, and how do you propose to respond to the crisis in Lowell specific ways? All right, people done with this one, ready to move on? All right. Next, Lowell's code enforcement should do more to protect tenants from evictions and or penalties for previous evictions. We got 3 different rankings on this one, which was unusual, 2, a 3, and a 1. Okay, this one is relatively short answers, so I'll move on a little faster. How would you expand affordable housing in Lowell and ensure development without displacement of established communities? And the next question is, how would you address the needs of the unhoused population in Lowell? And moving on. Would you support a city wage theft ordinance that would set up structures to protect workers from wage theft violations such as failure to make wage payments, failure to abide by minimum wage, prevailing wage, and
Oh, we
overtime
can't
laws?
hear you.
You can't hear me?
I
all
can
right.
hear you.
I can hear you.
All right, perhaps I just had an audio burp. All right. So the question is about, should the city set up its own wage theft ordinance to protect workers from these depredations, such as was recently prosecuted in that business in the acre? All three candidates said yes. Would you support programs to subsidize retrofitting the old housing stock in Lowell to be more energy efficient, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and reduce energy costs for other residents? All three candidates said yes. Climate change is causing more days of extreme heat, flooding, damaging storms, and drought, just to name a few of the impacts. Lowell could do more to prepare for the impacts of climate change. We have 2 1s indicating strong agreement, and we have 1 4 indicating strong disagreement with that statement. What steps would you recommend that the city take to improve its climate preparedness? I'm sorry, that was a mistake. The hours and reach of the LRTA need to be extended. 1 strongly agree, 5 strongly disagree. We have 2 1s and a 5. Moving on. Lowell should prioritize policies that make it easier to get around the city without a dependence on cars. A 1, a 2, and a 1. Why or why not? What policy priorities do you support to achieve this goal? Okay, and moving on. Where are we? Okay. All right, in 2018, the Lowell City Council passed a resolution supporting the goal of 100% renewable energy use in Lowell, including in buildings and transportation by 2035. This year, Massachusetts passed a new climate law that requires significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions across our economy by 2030. What steps would you recommend that Lowell take to accomplish these goals? Okay, and it looks like Corey's answer continues. Wow, does it? Okay. And moving on. Communications between the Lowell city government and the people of Lowell needs to be improved. Everybody strongly agreed. If so, what ideas do you have to improve communications between the Lowell city government and the people of Lowell? If not, why not? All right, and what are your top 3 priorities if elected? All right.
Joe, could you go back just for 1 second?
Do this?
Yep, thank you. Okay, I'm good.
All right. Before we move on to the next district, does anybody have any thoughts they want to share?
Can we endorse more than one candidate or only one?
We newly for in a race like this, we're endorsing one. I will be endorsing up to 3 for the at-large seats race. But unlike previous city council elections, we're in a position of actually having to pick one. The voters are in a position of having to actually pick one candidate. So we're going to alter our operation to match that as well.
Thank you for clarifying that.
This is Wynn. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can see from Corey's answer that he's actually taken the time to read what the city wrote, the Sustainability 2025 plan, and looks like he also read the Municipal Vulnerability Plan, both of which are really big documents. So I'm impressed that he did that.
Are the candidates who are here this evening have a chance to speak, or are it just ourselves? I don't have any specific question.
Yeah, and anybody's welcome to share a comment during this period. Okay, I am not seeing hands or asterisks. Oh, Corey has raised his hand.
Good evening. I just wanted to say, a couple were left blank, and that was one of them was a mistake. The others were kind of intentional as far as the LRTA. I've had conversations with the gentleman that's in charge of the LRTA right now, and we've had some good discussions about possibly expanding on routes. But again, right now with so many moving pieces, the pandemic being unknown, and all that, it was kind of tough to really lock down a concrete answer. I definitely feel like he is willing to work with the community, and if the needs of the community are truly expanding routes, making areas more accessible more frequently, it seems like he's open to that suggestion. So the couple that I did leave blank, again, one was a mistake, and the other two, it's a work in progress, so to say. And yes, I definitely did review the documents, and it's interesting to me. I've been involved in green space maintenance and stuff like that for 17 years now. So it's canopy cover and heat islands are definitely something that I think we all need to be very mindful of. And I also like gardening as a hobby, so it's a win-win for everybody.
All right, thank you, Corey. I see Robert Gignac. You have your hand raised as well.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to take 2 seconds of your time to thank the group for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts on these issues, and most importantly for the work that you're doing to improve our city. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Corey, I can't tell if you have your hand up again or still.
No, I'm sorry. I just must need to take it down.
All right, excellent. Then that will finish up.
Joe?
Hello?
My phone is not, Joe, it's Ron Peachtree. My phone's not letting me raise my hand. I'm sorry.
Okay. Hi, Ron.
I have a question for Corey. Corey, which question was it that you you intended to answer, but you did not?
I believe it was the one that I somehow missed about the absentee landlords.
And what would you have said if you'd had the chance?
Could you display that Question again, please.
I'm not sure which, the code enforcement should do more to protect tenants from evictions, that one? Corey?
Yes, I believe that was it. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, all right. Yeah, you had.
And so, I mean, I strongly agreed with that. And I definitely think we need to do everything we can to prevent evictions and put more people out on the street. I mean, we're already dealing with numbers that's astronomical, and trying to come up with resources to alleviate some of those issues currently. So, I mean, anything that code enforcement, because I'm finding, speaking to neighbors, that a lot of times what happens is there's zero investment on the landlord's behalf. The neighbors start to get into that same rut, and then something strikes down and they lose a source of income. And next thing you know, they're at odds, and they become homeless as a result of first, bad blood between the landlord and the tenant, and second, you know, whatever happens similar to like the pandemic, and there's something that happens in the professional or the career path. So I think we, what's that?
All right, thank you very much, Corey. We are running behind and we have to move on to our other districts.
Okay.
So moving on.
Thank you.
Our next district is District 4. That is the one that is downtown, back central, chunk of the acre, and a chunk of Pawtucketville and Centerville across the University Ave Bridge. We received, there are 3 candidates in the race. We received responses from Wayne Janess and Ryan Rourke, and we did not receive one from Paul Belly. All right, well, let's go through these. City has more work to do in the area of fair and biased policing. A 2 from Wayne Janess indicating agreement, and a 4 from Ryan Rourke. All right, next question.
No, you can't move yet. I haven't made it through the first paragraph.
All right.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, hon.
We're doing Hallie's nails down here. I know there's quite a big collection, but it's just because I didn't really sort.
I think you just advanced.
You're muted, Joe.
The city needs to diversify its hiring practices. A 1 and a 3. All right. And moving on. Would you support requiring developers in the city to sign a community benefits agreement that requires that their contractors' workforce require that a significant percentage of their workforce be Lowell residents, reflecting Lowell's diversity? All right, the next question. The city needs to ensure that all marginalized communities are equally protected. Both candidates gave a 1. Why or why not? What proposals do you have for ensuring equal protection for all Lowell residents and visitors? I don't believe I will have to leave this one up for a terribly long time. And next one. Systemic racism is a public health crisis in Lowell. 1 and a 3. If so, why and how do you propose to respond to the crisis in Lowell specific ways? If not, why not? What steps would you take, if elected, to engage all the diverse communities in Lowell in policymaking? And what past actions of yours should give voters confidence that you will follow through? Are we ready to move on? Next page. Lowell's code enforcement should do more to protect tenants from evictions and or penalties for previous evictions. We have a 2 and a 3. If so, why? And how do you propose to strengthen tenants' rights? If not, why not? All right, next section. How would you expand affordable housing in Lowell and ensure development without displacing established communities? And the related question, how do you address the needs of the unhoused population of Lowell? Okay, moving along. Lowell's code enforcement should do more to protect tenants from evictions and or penalties from previous evictions. A 2 and a 3. If so, how do you propose to strengthen tenants' rights? If not, why not? Okay, and moving on. How would you expand affordable housing in Lowell and ensure development without displacement of established communities?
Didn't we already read this?
Yeah, we already did this one. Wait, did we? Yep, yeah, we returned to a page by accident. Would you support the city's wage theft ordinance? All right, on to the environment. Would you support programs to subsidize retrofitting the old housing stock in Lowell to be more energy efficient and reduce greenhouse gas emissions? Yes and yes. Climate change is causing more days of extreme heat, flooding, damaging storms, and drought, just to name a few of the impacts. Lowell could do more to prepare for the impacts of climate change. A 2 representing agreement and a 3 representing neutral. What steps would you recommend that the city take to improve its preparedness? All right, moving on. The hours in reach of the LARTA need to be extended. They both give us a 2. Why or why not? If so, what would you recommend in order to reach this goal? Did we just have a late joiner? All right, moving on. Whoop. All right, Lowell should prioritize policies that make it easier to get around the city without a dependence on cars. A 1 and a 2. All right, next item. All right. Okay, here we go. 2018, Lowell passed a resolution supporting 100% renewable energy use, including buildings and transportation by 2035. Massachusetts passed a climate law requiring significant greenhouse gas emissions across our economy by 2030. What steps should Lowell take to accomplish these goals? Okay, and moving on to their final thoughts. Communications between Lowell City government and the people of Lowell needs to be improved. Wayne Janess gave us a 1 and Ryan gave us a 3. If so, what ideas do you have to improve the communications between the Lowell City government and the people of Lowell? Not, why not? What are your top 3 priorities if elected? All right. So open discussion. Does anyone have, oops, sorry, I just messed that up. Does anyone have any thoughts they'd like to share so far? Okay, I'll start. Of all of the candidates, of all of the responses that we've read so far, it really stands out to me the way Corey Robinson is the only one who's identified actual political and power dynamic based issues and offered solutions that involve the empowerment of specific communities. There have been a lot of answers from other candidates that I like that are more broad. This will be good for everybody type of answers and programs and things like that. But Corey is so far the only one whose answers display a confident awareness that there are specific groups of people who get screwed that need to have attention paid to them. I see Ron with his hand up.
Yep, that's me. I was just going to ask you if the candidates are still here.
Look, skipping through this, it looks to me like
Corey's still here.
Corey is still here.
All right. It might be a bit rude to speak of them sort of in the third person.
Also, Joe, I thought the discussion part about Corey was over anyway. I thought we were supposed to be talking about Wayne and Ryan right now.
Okay. If anybody had any comments specific to this race?
This is Wynn.
Hi, Wynn.
I liked Wayne's. It feels like Wayne has a sense of other cities and the reality. Like he knew about what was going on in Worcester. He's obviously talked to realtor people. He knows where Lowell people are trying to move to. It really feels like he has boots on the ground and that he's really been talking to a lot of different people.
Just looking for anyone else. Okay. Ron, do you have something else?
Yes. Did Ryan respond something other than 3 to anything?
Yeah, there's a 2.
There's a 2. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Scroll
Okay.
through, see a lot of 3s. Okay.
Thank you.
Dee had her hand up next, I think.
Yeah, I found that more of Wayne Janice's replies were more comprehensive, seem to have thought out more of the details. There were some replies from Ryan Rourke that had some details in it that were interesting, but I thought generally Wayne's replies had more thought out responses. I guess that's all I have to say.
Did we address the question of wage theft for these two candidates?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's
I may have missed
back to
that. I had to take a phone call, so thank you.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, here it is. All right. Now, we are definitely running behind our schedule. It's now 6:45 and we have one more race to get through. Based on how it's gone so far, that'll get us through this next race at maybe 7:05. Which puts us 10, maybe 15 minutes behind. If anybody can only stay till 7, we will not think it rude that you have to drop off at 7 o'clock. We're going to jump into the next one now, which is Wayne. Okay, District 7, the Acre. We received back responses from 3 of the 4 candidates, Tamara Kay, Patricia Stratton, and Paul Ratha-Yem. We did not receive back a response from Dave Willett. Okay. The city needs to diversify its hiring practices, a 2, a 3, and a 2. This language here in Camera K's answer is from the HR audit, from the recommendations in the HR audit. So he's clearly a big fan of their conclusions. Okay, moving on. The community benefits agreement. Yes, a yes, and an other. Okay. Okay. The city needs to ensure that all marginalized communities are equally protected, a 1, a 3, and a 1. Why or why not? What proposals do you have for ensuring equal protection? Systemic racism is a public health crisis in Lowell. 1 strongly agree, 5 strongly disagree. We have 3 threes. If so, why and how do you propose to respond to the crisis in Lowell specific ways? If not, why not? All right. What steps would you take if elected to engage all the diverse communities of Lowell in policymaking? And what past actions of yours should give the voters confidence that you will follow through?
Joe, I can't read the bottom of this slide.
Huh. You mean it's being cut off the bottom?
I think so. Maybe it's just my computer. Never mind.
I can't adjust the height. I think it must be.
No problem. Sorry.
Are you able to fix it?
No, but that's okay.
It's fine for me unless the bar is up.
Uh-huh.
That's like for the muting or starting video, etc. But otherwise, it's there.
Okay, moving on. Lowell's code enforcement should do more to protect tenants from evictions and or penalties from previous evictions, a 2, a 3, and a 3. If so, why and how do you propose to strengthen tenants' rights? If not, why not? All right, moving on. How would you expand affordable housing in Lowell and ensure development without displacement of established communities? How would you address the needs of the unhoused population in Lowell? Okay, for me to move along. Okay, next page. The wage theft ordinances to set up a structure. Okay. Support programs to subsidize retrofitting old housing stock for environmental purposes. Yes, other, and yes. Okay. Climate change is causing more days of extreme heat, flooding, damage, and storms and drought, just to name a few of the impacts. Lowell could do more. A 4. showing a disagreement, a 3 showing neutrality, and a 1 showing strong agreement. What steps would you recommend that the city take to improve its preparedness? All right, moving along. The errors of the LRTA, a 3, a 3, and a 1. Why or why not? What would you recommend to reach this goal? Okay. Moving along. Lowell should prioritize policies that make it easier to get around the city without a dependence on cars. A 3, a 3, and a 1. Why or why not? What policy priorities do you support to achieve this goal? All right, and the 100% renewable energy resolution and state law. What steps would you recommend Lowell take to accomplish these goals? Oops, sorry. All right, moving on. Communications between the Lowell City government and the people of Lowell needs to be improved. A 2, a 3, and a 3. What ideas do you have to improve communications? And finally, your top 3 priorities. All right. Everyone else said here. All right. Any thoughts, any observations?
I think it's safe to say that Stratton is terrible.
That really seemed mailed in.
Yeah. And then in terms of Camara or Paul Rathayem, at first I was leaning towards Camara, and then towards the end, Paul Rathayem's answers seemed better. So honestly, I'm just really glad I'm not voting in this one.
Except we are.
Camera Kay seems to not believe in climate change.
Yeah, that's really, that given her previous answers, that really surprised me.
That's a he.
He's
Oh, my apologies.
Republican.
I'm sorry?
He's Republican. That should explain it.
Kale?
I was just gonna agree. I didn't feel super strong. I didn't feel like any of their answers were very strong, except, yeah, I think Paul Rathayem had a few decent answers about environmental issues. But not many of them had, there were only like one or two things that they really had concrete policy or plan suggestions. I was also going to ask, do we always endorse someone, or could we make a decision to not endorse anyone for a certain district? I'm seeing a nodding of
Yeah,
heads.
we could absolutely not endorse in a particular race. If you think about our previous endorsement rounds, when people were voting for 9 city councilors at a time, we never endorsed 9 people. Which means we left some of those races, some of those seats without an endorsement. I don't. Yeah, so that's our established thing. We we endorse candidates who are really good candidates, or at least who are by far the best candidate in the race. We don't feel a compulsion to answer every question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there will be a no endorsement. Okay, the rules for this ballot that's coming out for each race, you will have the options of the candidates, each of the candidates, and no endorsement for that race. And the winner, is this plurality voting or is this majority voting? Is the winner say there are 3 candidates in a race? Do we go with an endorsement only if one of those candidates gets to 50%, or do we go with an endorsement if that is the most popular of the 4 options?
I think it's been most popular in the past.
Yeah, yes, I think so too. I think, yeah.
So if no endorsement was the most popular, that would be the answer.
Yes, yes. Once again, this is new because it didn't work like this last time, and we've had but we've had other races besides city council where we did no endorsement as an option for primaries. As party primaries, state rep, and Congress. So yes, that's the way we'll do it. We'll just let's see. It looks like Kale, you have your hand up.
Yeah. Will we share the results of this survey? I think that would be important too.
Yeah,
Like publicly.
Put it in the chat that she's gonna share it with the when they send out the ballot.
And it will also, of course, be in the recording, which will be on YouTube, and we will have a link I will leave in our newsletter to the recording, so people can see this in a variety of forms.
Would we consider posting it on our website?
There's actually rules against that with Progressive Mass, unfortunately. Because our endorsement process can't be public. We can post it to our newsletters and our closed Facebook group, but we actually can't post it publicly. So though it will be on the YouTube, we assume that that's mostly only going to go to subscribers. So, there are ways of the public finding out about our endorsements, but we can't, unfortunately.
So for me personally, this one, is the most difficult decision, and the struggle I'm having with it is between Paul Rathayem and no endorsement.
But you're not.
You know something about
you're not voting in that one, are you, Joe?
No, that's right. I'm talking about the decision about making an endorsement here. The comment I was making earlier about Corey, I also feel like I like applying it a little bit to Ratha in this race. There are some answers in here where he demonstrates an awareness of power dynamics affecting marginalized communities in the city that's distinct from just good government. You know, wanting to have a policy that's good for everybody. And I consider that important. But on the other hand, he only does it a little. Dee?
Well, I think it was Camera whose response on environmental things that could be done by the city was basically to focus on electrical vehicles, which does a lot for how many people? I mean, we have a lot of people in the city who can't afford a car, never mind an electric car. So, and there was nothing in there about anything that affected other people. And on the other extreme, Paul Rathayem is talking about things that affect people. Like he's talking about making sure that transit is available to the neighborhoods where there are more unemployed people so that they can go to school and get jobs because they can't afford cars, so they need public transport. Mm-hmm. So there was more of a sense in his responses of various levels of people in the city, not just a certain group. I liked that about him. I'm sorry that we didn't get a response from Dave Willett, because I think he would have been good on some of these issues too, but that was his choice. I was floored that when we asked about racism in a city that's majority BIPOC, nobody came in with a 1. And I'm like, they're all 3s.
That's what we're looking at now. Yeah, that was just spiriting. There, I think there's some distinction that can be drawn in the in their expanded answers, but they all put a 3.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Paul?
I'm old enough to remember Camera K being in previous races. Maybe some others do as well. And I didn't get a good feeling from conversations with him about being a good candidate for the city. I don't think he's changed.
Hi, Joe. This is Ben.
Oh, Ben. Yes.
Sorry, can I chime? I know it's kind of awkward, but please, if I may chime in a little bit here. Is it knowing this body? I think discrimination and racism being a public health crisis is very important to this body. Historically, knowing this body and the members of the body. So isn't it possible that you weigh your endorsement or that particular question, you give it a lot of weight? Because if somebody has been in this city this while and is not able to make these decisions, distinctions, and feel strongly about racism being a public health crisis in the city, now that they are candidates, what will they do when they get in there? So I was wondering, is there no way you can weigh that, particular question, give it some significant weight? And I don't think that this body should be under any gun or under any pressure to make any endorsements. If you feel that a certain candidate or group of candidates really do not feel, meet your basic standards, I don't think you should be under any pressure to say no endorsement.
I agree entirely. Everybody, every member can weight these questions and answers however they want to. Personally, I think Ben makes an excellent point about how we should.
And I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't, I didn't want to comment on this, but I felt that it's not concerning my race. So my apologies. I just didn't want to, I wanted to stay away, but at a point I felt I needed to make my viewpoints known.
You're perfectly welcome to comment. All right, not seeing any other hands raised, I will bring this section of the meeting to an end. Look for your ballots in your emails. Moving along. All right. Our next meeting will be, oh, looks like Corey has his hand raised. Corey?
I was just wondering, how long do you anticipate the process to take to get you?
I think we are giving people, what was it, everyone? Was it a week to get their ballots back?
Yeah, I think that's what we did last year.
Yeah, we want to get these out in time to actually be circulated for a couple of weeks before the primary happens. So we're talking about a turnaround here of certainly certainly less than 2 weeks to make our decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Count the ballots.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so our next meeting on September 26th, it's 5:30. It's going to be another Zoom meeting, and we will be going over the rest of the races that we didn't make an endorsement for because of the primary. That is going to be different. There are going to be more races and more candidates, so it would be a lot more answers to go through. For that reason, we are not going to be replicating this same process just because we wouldn't be able to get through it in a reasonable amount of time. What we are going to do is get a document comparable to these slides that I've been putting up, where you, people can see and compare everybody's answers out to you before that meeting, and ask that people come having done the reading and come, and we'll basically have a discussion on each of the races based on the assumption that people have seen and are going over the endorsement surveys. Okay. We have a Slack, the Solidarity Lowell Slack. Join the discussion about endorsements under events. We, as always, are asking people to volunteer to help us with our reminder texts.
And if I may chirp into this one, since that's what I'm usually doing, since several of the people who have been doing it are currently not available for a while, we could use a few extra sets of hands for those that haven't done it before. It's real easy. You'll be sent a text that you just have to copy over and send out to about roughly 10 phone numbers, which will be provided to you in the spreadsheet. So you don't have to think, you just have to be able to copy and paste and enter a phone number and push send. If anybody would like to do that, please say it now or contact me, chris@solidaritylowell.com. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Coordinating committee members, please stick around for a quick debrief. Everybody else, thank you for coming and good night.